Uh, I have to. Yes. So, Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahe Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvisha Vahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Our masters makes a clear distinction between the mind and the intellect. Mind is the house of experiences. I see you, I hear you, I talk to you, I like you, I dislike you, I hate you, I love you, I'm attached to you. They are all experiences by the mind. So this mind perceives and deceives. How it deceives? Mind perceives and deceives. Why I say so? Let us understand. I see you. So mind has a perception plus projection. What is that projection? Here is I am, there is you are. But how the mind concluded? Just by default. Just by default. What is default? Impulsive, instinctive, habitual reaction. Oh, there you are. Now intellect comes. I see you. No, no. Intellect says, no, I see your body. I don't see you. Intellect says, no, you are not the body. So I'm not the body. So saying I'm here and there you are is a deception. Discernment removes this deception. Do you see that? No, no, you are my son. You should not do this. Hold on. Allow the intellect to play its role. Then what happens? Then what happens? Your anxiety drops. Do you see that? Just see it clearly, here and now. So, the power of discernment, if you live with the power of discernment in the intellect 24 by 7, you stand up, your mind says, it is necessary evil. Mind says you have to go to the restroom because you have an urge, but the mind, you land up into the kitchen. Mind perceives and deceives. Mind perceives and projects. So all the time, mind, whatever the mind does, you allow the intellect to analyze, reason, observe, find out what is right. You are in the, that is what the discernment does. Did you understand? How I look at beautiful girl. Mind says either appreciation or sensuality. It is only the intellect. It is only the intellect behind the mind says, come on, what the heck you are doing? Beauty, yes. Appreciate the beauty. Appreciate the nature. Appreciate wherever you get the opportunity. Don't mix up with the sensuality. Are you getting it? That is the power of discernment. I'm taking you to the higher journey. How our masters used to perceive. So that is why, as a ritual, so those people who do not understand this, they said, okay, then the moment you see the women, you should have a motherly, you should have a motherly attitude. Oh, every woman is a mother. That's a kind of a ritual. Obviously, it begins, it starts, and it leads to the discernment. So I'm not saying that. You all are seekers. So just mind and intellect has to be separated inside you. And the intellect should have the power of discernment in order to lead an external life and also the internal life. Now you see what happens. What happens? What I said just now. I see you, you see me. Intellect says, come on, what the heck you are saying? I see your body, you see your body. So what now, where your awareness goes? Where your awareness goes, think of it. First thing, the deception is gone. Now your mind continues to perceive that the projection is gone. The mind lives in a choiceless awareness, and you find the real self. I summarized it very in a very short way. Is sky blue? No, sky is not blue, but I see the blue. No, but now the mind perceives the sky without blueness. What is that? It is awareness. So mind has left a perception by the sense organ, but now it has a subtle perception. And that perception is devoid of projection. What is projection? Imagined blueness. Who does it? Intellect. We have an intellect, we have a free will. Think, think. We hardly think. We hardly think. We take it for granted. And we say, I hate you, I love you, I'm attached to you, I'm obsessed with you, etc., etc. We don't think. No, don't think. Then the world is suffering. The world will continue to suffer, make you suffer. So we are talking about 5 groups of practices, pranayama and pratyahara. We have concluded we are understanding deeply what is this power of discernment, how it comes to the intellect, and how it helps me to remove the imagined projection after or with perception or perception with the projection. You remove the perception with the projection, what will happen? You are talking to your honey, you are talking to man and women. Perception without projection. No, no, but my intellect holds me to hug my honey. No, it doesn't hold you. That is the right perception. From the time you wake up in the morning until you retire to the bed, the intellect takes over the mind. That is what the purity of the mind is. We have done a lot of stuff in the reference to the purity of the mind. So that is the purity of the mind. Intellect is unutilized. That causes the impurity of the mind. Unused. Foolishness, intellect is unused. Intelligent fool. I don't use their common sense. Where is common sense? I see a man, I don't see a woman. I don't see a man, I see a man and women. I don't see a person with a hatred. But my mind says, I hate this guy. Are you see? I'm obsessed with this person. Do you see? We are going deeper into the power of discernment. And if you analyze each and every 9 factors which causes the world is suffering, you will understand. We live with the non-thinking that we claim that we are thinking. Our thoughts coming from the mind, first-hand experience of perception with projection is dictated. It's dictating the intellect. And that is why I live in delusion. Think, think, think. So whether you say scattered mind, well, come on, mind. Where are you scattered? Let me see. One object, second object, third object. Why? Only the intellect has to ask the question. Why? What happened? Either you will find attachment, emotional dependence, or unconscious habit, impulsive nature, ego. These are the 9 factors. I told you the word is the cause of this suffering. You have to contemplate daily. The more you contemplate, the more your mind is refined and purified, more the positive responses comes from you in times of difficulty, in difficult situation, in difficult relationship. You become capable to change your behavior and attitude. In any situation, in any condition, at any time. Why? Intellect and mind are available all the time. But we always keep our mind with a lot of obsession and attachment and emotional dependence available for us to interact. Then we are suffering. That is why satsang. The second I told you, the satsang. I told you satsang helps you by listening and learning, gives you a deeper insight. And that deeper insight refines your perception. It recognizes the deception. It recognizes the imagined projection. No, here, my honey, you have to do this. Hold on. Allow the intellect to play its role. Well, if you don't possess intellect, then matter is different. But as a human being, we all have the intellect, free will. We have a choice. We can filter out that deception in every event situation. And that is what takes you to realization, a change in your behavior and attitude and experiences. Master says, Satsang is won by understanding again and again from gross to subtle to subtler to the subtlest. And now the intellect has no influence of the mind. And that intellect reveals the knowledge of the real self. That is why the power of discernment. You do the asanas practice without discernment, and you do the practice with discernment. The role of the discernment is very important. Satsang is one, and the second is the service. Service means why service? Why the word service? Serving. Why? Why serving has been added here? We are not able to connect these dots, and that's where the confusion arises. So, service simply means I am a contributor. I am not a consumer. Consumer comes from the egoistic mind. Go back to the 9 factors. Egoistic mind develops, created, comes into being because of attachment, emotional dependence, because of projection. So the first is the satsang. And now the service here means that I wake up in the morning and now I'm a contributor to the world. I meet my honey, I'm a contributor. I'm teaching, I'm a contributor. I am, hmm? I am, I'm doing even a small thing, I'm a contributor. Sitting in front of the computer, I'm a contributor. So you try to remove through the intellect that idea of being a consumer. Thank you. Internally, thank you, computer. You are available, monitor is available, internet is available. Hence, I'm giving a session. If these things are not available, how can I give the session? Consumer says, oh, let me see. What the heck? This guy, this internet provider is crazy. Now you see, look at the mental thoughts. A monitor. I will never buy HP monitor again. For example, you see, computer is not creating a problem. You are creating a problem to yourself. Are you getting it? We're going a very subtle level of discernment. I'm creating a problem. Hold on, let me open the computer. It hangs down. It is unconscious. It does not have an intellect. It does not have a free will. I recognize it hangs down. Computer does not recognize it is hanging. Are you getting it? Do you see the clarity of thought process? Clarity of the thought process comes by the practice of discernment. And it takes your life to a higher level. See that clearly. It is not a big deal to understand it. And when the mind is crazy over the computer, over the glass of water, over the small things, they create impressions, they are accumulated in the mind, and then the mind starts dictating over the intellect. The next day you wake up, those impressions returns again, and it dominates and dictates your life. It causes you extreme tiredness, fatigue, and anxiety and reaction. You are always ready to fight with the world. Why? Because I'm a consumer. The second steps after satsang is the service, and that is how we have to apply this this Eastern wisdom in our daily life. You're always ready. You don't see, oh, there is a new situation. No, you have a power of discernment. It takes you definitely to a higher states of the consciousness. So what it says that first is that first is what I said, the remedy is the satsang. Second is the service. I made it very clear. Service does not mean that you say, oh, I will do the social service. Leave the social service to the social activist. That is not spirituality. That is not Eastern wisdom. It is internalization. It is internalization. You prevented your mind to hate, react, blame someone. That is the greatest service you have done to the humanity. Rather than sitting and talking in a living room, how we can change the world. The world is not going to change. You have to change yourself. Are you getting it? Social activists always try to change the world. Service here means we change ourselves, our perception changes. That is what the discernment brings us to. Even body has a pain. Oh, body has a pain. Mind starts crying. Invite the intellect and see what happens. Suffering gone. Pain is there. Let me go to the doctor and find out what is the problem. Finished. You fell down, the blood is coming out. Oh, what will happen? All the blood will come out. That is your perception with a projection. Apply this viveka every day in your life. I want only all of you should live that life. Why? Because then you see that you there is a naturally you influence hundreds of people. And once you have an urge to teach and educate, yes, start teaching and educating. The third part is the self-study. Self-study means contemplation and reflection. Contemplation and reflection comes by intellect. Comes by the intellect. Now, couple of warning. You have to discern between the intellectual knowledge and discernment. You see, it's very subtle things we are entering into. Intellectual knowledge dominated in the intellect by the mind. Why? The mind with the perception, projection, and imagined deception is already present in the mind all the time. So the mind tries to multiply that information and present to us. Do you see that? Do you see? He didn't talk to me. He didn't wish me. Are you special? Past information. Past information. I can give you millions of examples. So intellectual knowledge is one, discernment is totally. How to know? When I'm in the discernment, I'm happy, calm, relaxed, poised. When? In all the situations, in all conditions, at all time, in all relationships. Finished. But the intellectual knowledge proves that how you are wrong, and the mind continues to project and deceives you. Subtle, very subtle. Can discernment be cultivated by the solitary practice or satsang? A meeting, weekly session is necessary. Think of it. Because you don't get a new thought should be processed by an intellect on your own. That is why the satsang is necessary. But once you get a new thought, it gives you an idea. Oh, let me spend 1 hour in a solitude and contemplate and reflect. So when you start processing that through your intellect in a solitude, you are already absorbed into meditation. You will recognize that I live into that experience. My eyes are open. I'm doing all the activities. I'm living into that state of meditation. It will happen. And first time you will recognize, oh, this is what our masters are talking about. Huh? That state of mindfulness can be present all the time. Whatever the activities I'm doing, whether I'm doing, whether I'm sitting in a restroom or a living room, every moment is a sacred moment. Then we need not to put lot of incense, sticks, and anywhere. Everywhere is a sacred moment. I'm just reflecting on what exactly means by awakening. You awaken to that consciousness which cannot be touched by the mind, whose habit is perception with deception and projection, what happens now? how how does one balance the cultivation of discernment and the worldly responsibilities? I've already answered. World is an opportunity to apply the discernment at any point of time in all the relationship, in all the activities of your life. Do you see that? The whole life is yoga. One of the greatest masters, Sri Aurobindo, said, now you prove the whole life is yoga. Not only doing 15 postures, 2 minutes of breathing, 2 minutes of relaxation, 1 minute of mindfulness, and after that the mind returns to the same stuff. Aurobindo said, whole life is yoga. What a beautiful state. Now you can really appreciate it. What is that yoga is we are talking about. But those who are tuned to the mind, perception with a projection, how can you do the whole life is yoga? I'm driving the car. How can I do lotus pose? How can I do the headstand? No, that is not yoga. So, how does satsang help in cultivating the viveka? I made it clear. Self study, and also the third point, the service. Service is very. You will instantly find that now my intellect says calm down, the mind calms down. Your anxiety is gone, reaction is gone. Now you are ready to talk, communicate in calmness and peace. You change yourself completely. From where I started the mind perceives. The faculty, the instrument, the mind means perception. Now, what happens? This perception is polluted by deception, projection, imagination. From where this deception, projection, imagination comes from my foolishness. All the nine factors. So you have to contemplate. You have to sit down in solitude. Just one. Pick up all these nine factors that you have learned, and then see how my mind has projected this. I and tell let the intellect tell you, please, please go away. I'm not interested. Not interested. This is known as dharma viveka. I explained you the definition of dharma, not exactly the religion. Dharma means that I have to, the way I think, speak, and act. Thought, speech, and action, all are actions. So in dharma viveka, I refine, I purify my action based on the thought, based on the knowledge coming from the intellect, not from the mind. Not from the mind. Dharma viveka, action, thought, speech, action. All three are basically one action. We say physical action. So even thought is an action, speech is an action. So now your thought, speech, and action all are governed by the discernment, not by the perception plus deception, perception plus projection, perception plus imagination. It is not governed by the mind. So you have already a pure state of the mind. So first there is a viveka in the thought, speech, and action. It goes into the mind. Now the mind perceives. the situation, condition, relationship, everyday life, you are happy. That is the power of discernment. So, dharma viveka also means that it puts you into the right perspective, it puts you into the right thought, right speech, right action, because dharma viveka has to do with all our activities. So, it is the right action. I know you have a doubt, so I will spend another 2 or 3 minutes and I will answer that question. Discernment in the intellect takes place by the facts and the truth. It has nothing to do with any kind of imagination or hallucination. Be very clear. If the discernment is not, it does not follow the facts and the truth, then it is not discernment, it is the intellectual knowledge. Wave is water, nothing but the water. It is a fact and the truth. Mind is influenced by, dictated by the waves because of attachment, because of emotional dependence, because of the ego, because of the consumer mindset. We are only talking of the discernment. Remember this discernment always done by the facts and the truth. So we have a little change. Science says I observe the facts through the sense organ. We say it's a relative fact. It's not an absolute. Talk about the absolute truth. That does not change. So your fact is constantly changing. In quantum physics, the facts are converted into a possibilities. They do not remain as a fact. That is the understanding of the quantum physics. And we have done it thousands of years ago. Facts are probabilities because everything is changing. That is how the quantum physics. So you see that Eastern wisdom, direct perception. Now, last point is very important. One is the direct perception through my sense organ. I see you, you see me. No, hold on. What I see, body. What you see, the body. What you label me as a teacher. What I label you as a seeker. Okay, okay, but you are constantly changing. I am constantly changing. My role constantly changes. Your role constantly changes. So direct perception cannot give me the truth, the real. Second perception is indirect perception through the mind, and the mind colors that perception with the deception, with the projection, with the different labels, imagination, hallucinations, etc., etc., etc. Third type of a perception we are talking of the real and the right perception beyond senses and the mind. Can I have a perception? Can I have a perception? Can I have a perception also means knowledge, also means understanding. Can I have a perception without the sense organ, without the interference of the sense organ and the mind? That is what we say the insight and the intuition. That is what we say insight and the intuition. It is because of the insight you know the sky is not blue. It is because of the insight you know the wave is water. With the same insight, at the height of the discernment, you know you are the real self. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed and find out being comfortable, carefree, casual place. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Mind continues to listen. Mind has to perceive perception through the five sense organs. So you are listening. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Is your intellect active? And it instantly becomes aware. Let everyone be happy. Why? How it comes? By service, by satsang, and by contemplation and reflection and practice. Sarvesham, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. See the role of the mind and the intellect. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness, wholeness, and your intellect says, I'm already whole. Where at the level of the real self, at the level of the consciousness, because this consciousness cannot be divided at all. There cannot be two consciousness. So how can I say that you are a conscious being and I am a conscious being? I say it because of either perception by the senses or indirect perception by the mind. Sarvesham, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be wholeness in all. May there be auspiciousness for all. Looking inside the forehead in the space, dropping Om Shanti, and start breathing from the belly this time. Belly breathing. Little longer breath. Inhale into the belly, exhale from the belly. Om Shanti continues. Stillness in the body continues. Belly breathing, remember it's not the chest breathing, even though there is a little movement, maybe a little movement of the rib cage, but the maximum expansion and contraction of the belly is taking place with inhalation and exhalations, keeping the body steady and dropping the Om Shanti. What we are doing, a wonderful way. I'll introduce some other steps also. Let the time come that we are doing both the pranayama and the pratyahara. And with discernment, that is why, that is why the result is coming. Continue belly breathing, longer breath, deeper breath, hissing breath means that it's a noisy breath. Inhale with the speed. With the weirdness of the expansion and contraction of the belly. Om Shanti is softer and gentler. So, can you see the struggle between the mind and the intellect? Mind says it is too much. First, it says too much. Then it stops the breathing or starts breathing differently. Then it loses the awareness. And then I say something, and your mind returns again. Another way that your mind says, no, I cannot do it. Another way, endurance. If the intellect does not know what exactly is the endurance, the mind will not follow. Do you see that? And the final stage of the breathing, there is a joy of doing it. Joy of doing means what? Mind has no impurity, no projection, no deception. I'm just helping you to understand these two great instruments. Ultimately, the perception has to be done by the mind, minus projection, imagination, hallucinations, emotional dependence, I thought, and then what? You see the wave and still you know 100% that is a real and a right perception. All waves are water. All human beings is pure consciousness. Continue. Long in the hissing breath. Om Shanti. Stillness. Expansion and contraction of the belly. Now stop this. Pay attention to the flow of the breath. Now you see when I say you to stop this breathing, your mind brings the breath to its habitual pattern. Intellect makes a choice, passes on the information to the mind. What is that choice? Intellect makes a choice. Now we have to stop. But then the mind is so full of impurities and ignorance. It says, okay, now it's a habitual pattern, so I have no problem. And then it goes back to its emotional dependence, attachment, etc., etc. Those 9 factors. So to prevent it and to move to the higher level, I simply say, observe, watch, feel the flow of the breath, no change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath. So those or on a given day, even a higher seeker is dictated by the impurities of the mind. This step works very well. Or otherwise, even the beginners. And you already know when I say the pay attention to the flow of the breath, you're also aware which flow is less or both the flow are equal. Both the flow are equal. Allow the mind to rest in that flow of the breath. You'll find a tremendous experience. Now start breathing deep, silent, slow. What it means, as you inhale, first your belly expands, then the rib cage until the throat. We are doing the nyas. As you inhale, move your mind from the top center of the head, moving down, reaching to the tailbone, singing mentally Shanti, Shanti ends at the tailbone. And when you exhale, Om begins. Mind passes through the spine, rises up, reaches to the top center of the head, and there the Shanti ends. Deep silence, slow breathing, moving the mind on the track of the spine, and singing mentally Om Shanti. Om Shanti. We're asking the mind, you become an intellect, even for a shorter period. And something tremendous takes place deeper inside at the level of our awareness. Continue. Find out it's a fine tuning of Om Shanti, movement of the mind in the deep, silent, and slow breath, and the spine. And if that is happening, you are already absorbed. You have an experience of absorption, even in activity. And now leave this step. Drop Om Shanti on the 16 segments of a finger to check what we normally say the perception, observe facts through the sense organ. But here, what we are doing, we are keeping all the senses in the mind. It's a mind's ear, it's a mind's eye, it's a mind's touch, it's a mind's tongue. They are working. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. And now, move the mind inside the cave of your heart. Visualize the triangle of any color, equilateral triangle pointing upward. And now casually you drop on Shanti on each side of a triangle, moving on the side clockwise and anti-clockwise in order to check mind is pure, it can easily move and it sinks. The moment you find the sink, that is the point. Pushing the mind with the singing deep into the cave of your heart. Mind seemingly stops. That is the point you drop of Shanti. After, do nothing. That very doer, the very subtlest I, thought, and ego also dissolves. And stay there in that state. Continue, remain as you are in that state. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your Buddha palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences, bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. How are you, David and Jay?
Thank you. Um, yeah, the lesson was um, very good. I love the layers of the mind. We think of the mind as just one thing, but when you really break it down and understand the layers, that's when we can really affect the mind and change the mind. And um, so that was very powerful for me. And the meditation was extremely deep. By the time I got to the triangles, my breath was very, very, very slow.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, that is another expression that we have to break up this mind in layers. The lower layer is the mind, instinctive and impulsive mind, and the higher layer of the mind is the intellect. That is one way to understand it. Very good. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. The meditation was really peaceful and smooth and equal breathing and just deeper and deeper and deeper. And the lesson, I think, just for me, the takeaway was just never forgetting that we have choice.
Yes,
We always have choice, and the choice is guided by that compass, the compass of the real self.
you are right. We always have a choice, and that choice goes or dissolves or it appears it is not there in presence of ego, emotional dependence, attachment, all these stuff. Beautiful. How are you, Christina?
And well, thank you. Experienced uh, bodilessness through our practice today, and it made me wonder how often I feel that or don't feel that in my day-to-day life, and that maybe it's possible to feel that more when we're having interactions with others.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. You see that I was just giving example the way all waves are water. All who are present here is consciousness. Can I see it? And if I see it, I'm there. Are you, Dennis?
Thank you for the lesson and the practice. My practice was very comfortable, deep, absorbed. And I have a question about the last thing you said in the lecture, that perception without interference of sense organs and the mind is insight or intuition. Am I understanding correctly that this kind of perception bypasses the intellect too? Is it like a water to water perception where waves have no part at all?
Yes, it bypasses not only the intellect, but also the impure mind and also the sense organ. How can I say that all waves are water? How can I say? Do I say based on my sense organ? No, the sense organ says there are millions of waves. Can I? Is the mind faculty of the mind perceives that all wave is water? Yes, it helps me, but ultimately the same mind it causes the division. And now the intellect applies the discernment. And after applying the discernment, I only have an understanding. What is understanding? It is knowledge, it is awareness. There is only an awareness that all waves is water. And that is what we talk about, the intuition and also the insight. But how the insight and intuition takes place, it is the integral part of the pure consciousness. It can be distorted by the mind and the intellect. How are you, Brandy?
Thank you. I'm good. My endurance was definitely put to the test during the meditation today, which felt a little like a direct application of the lesson. And I finally got there right before you brought us out. But I remember what you said one time, that if you can even achieve like a second of it, then you can achieve it all.
Yeah. One is the endurance, and other is the joy of doing it. So when you have a joy of doing it, you don't have that kind of a division. Joy of eating. I feel the food, me, and the pleasure, they all are one. So yes, so that state, which we can say safely that it is the pure state of the mind. And when we enter into the pure state of the mind, awareness is different, perception is different. Beautiful. How are you, Terry?
I'm okay. I had some points in the, but now I can't remember them. So I struggled in the breathing, and I think I forgot the lecture what I wanted to comment about.
No worries. I'll be sending you the audio file. Listen to it again. And whenever you have a question, send it by email.
Oh, okay.
Send it. So just understand, intellectual knowledge is one, discernment is different. Mind is one and the intellect is different. See that? So when and how you see it in your head inside, you don't see it outside. So it's beyond the perception of the sense organ. And it is also beyond the preferences of the mind. Preferences of the mind means likes and dislikes. I love you, I hate you, I react to you, I blame you. All, that is what the impulsive and the instinctive mind acts. But it acts only in the absence of discernment. It cannot act in the presence of discernment. And discernment is the power of intellect, it is the power of understanding. So everything is happening at a very subtler level. So a higher seeker recognizes these movements and instantly changes. It doesn't allow the mind to remain obsessed, attached, intelligent fool, because it doesn't apply the wisdom. And in that, we find that I is not there, projection is not there. Why the projection is not there? Because sense organs, sense perception is also not. That is what I say, the waves to the ocean, mirage water. What happens when I approach to the mirage? I don't see the water, but I go far, I see the mirage. That mirage is a perfect example of hallucination, imagination, projection. Who causes this projection? Ignorance. Eastern wisdom is a movement from ignorance to wisdom. Asato ma satgama. You all know it. Why I'm teaching? Asato ma satgama, tamaso ma jyotirgam, mrityor ma amritangam. These three lines. In all the Upanishads, we have the basic text, fundamental, original text, and you have these mantras. So these mantras summarizes the entire teaching of the Upanishad. And they are being repeated in different texts. So you see how I brought you back to the Asato ma Satgama. That is all for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.